Welcome everybody to Talk That Talk, where we have the unfiltered, unscripted, uncomfortable conversation. All right.
Hi, I'm Eric Prince, Traditional Show Style Coordinator for U.S. Bands. Very excited for what we have coming down the road. To reflect on the past, our initial contest that we had at Prairie View A&M with Dr. Timmy Zachary was very successful. Excited for 2022. We're going to start in Montgomery, Alabama with Professor Brandon Howard out of Huntington College. Then we're going to return back to Texas at Prairie View A&M with Dr. Timmy Zachary. And then we're going to head up to Virginia State with Professor Taylor Whitehead. And then we're going to finish up 2022 back in North Carolina with my peer here, Mr. Gary M. Bryant.
Guess what? 2023, we got more exciting things coming your way. We're going to Nashville, Tennessee. We're going to go down to Shreveport, Louisiana, Jacksonville, Florida, Atlanta, Georgia, Columbia, South Carolina, and we got one more, Jackson, Mississippi. So get ready. Here we come.
All right. Welcome everybody to Talk That Talk. We have the unfiltered, unscripted, uncomfortable conversations about band, HBCU, band culture, music education, and more. And let me go ahead and introduce who is here right now. Hey, Maya.
Hey.
It's Maya, everybody.
Hi.
Whoever the eyebrows.
I'm tired.
You ain't getting no sleep today?
No.
Well, let me tell you a crazy story. So I was supposed to this is a crazy story. Well, it's not really crazy, but I was supposed to get a workout in today.
Mm-hmm.
So, I ate my pre-workout food and, a lot of not carbs, but protein or whatever. And then I was like, all right, I don't want to go work out right on it. So let me just have a seat for a little second, pound some water down. And about 2 minutes later, I was out.
Yep.
It didn't even get to the workout. So
that sounds about right.
Yeah, so didn't happen. Oh Lord. Okay, there we go.
Yes,
yeah.
Please.
All right. So a lot of band things, music things happened this weekend. I don't know if you were privy to that. So let me ask, anything that you saw this past weekend that you want to share?
I mean, I just really saw the things that were on my timeline here and there. I haven't really taken a deep dive into YouTube. I haven't had the chance this week. Now, one thing that I have been seeing over and over and over is TxSu. Like, okay, aside from the whole field show stuff, but more so the motion and what they're doing. I mean, I'm at a loss for words because, wow, the girls are really doing what they need to do. And it's really, really interesting to me, not to say, well, I don't, as politely as possible, like, it's just crazy really what they're, like, the talent that they're putting out there. Everything that they're putting out is, I don't know. I haven't been disappointed yet. And that's really, really good to see. That's like a breath of fresh air. Yeah. Well, I think the Stingettes, I've seen a couple things from the Stingettes. I mean, same thing, definitely a quality product, but in terms of like staples and just really like jaw dropping, that's been emotion for sure.
The fact that you're even saying that to me is so shocking.
I know. It's weird. It's very weird. And I've never had an issue with the motion. They've just never been like, wow, like, like truly up in arms for me.
Mm-hmm.
For me. So.
Well, I will start off by saying this. I typically don't. Okay, let me stop lying. I be watching dances a lot. Okay. I don't. I know what a heel stretch is.
Okay.
A plie.
Okay.
I know when somebody goes to first or second position.
Okay.
There are a couple of other things that I do know. But for the most part, I don't be paying attention. I mean, like, I don't really know the in-depth stuff that I'm looking at. I
Yeah.
just know what looks good to me and
Right.
what doesn't look good to me. And I will definitely say that I can agree with you about this motion thing.
Yeah.
I was just watching them and I was just like, okay, this is outside of the norm of what I've seen from them. So I definitely can agree with you on that.
It's a unit. Like, it's a unit. It's a forceful unit.
Yeah.
And that's very tough. And it's not like they have a small squad. They don't have a humongous squad, but they have a hefty amount of girls.
But they got more numbers than they usually would, though.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was me.
No, they have a good amount of girls, but it's truly like they're moving and they look as one.
Okay. All right. Well, look at that. Look at that. So I will tell you that I'm wearing my Spartan Legion shirt today in representation of the Spartan Legion and such the job that they did this past weekend against Hampton.
Did they kill it?
I will say that they killed Hampton.
Okay.
I mean,
was there no gold and mold? Is that what that man said?
Yeah, the green and mold, man.
Green and mold, yeah.
this is what I'm gonna have to say on that particular part of that whole situation there.
Okay.
Don't go talking a whole bunch of stuff online if you know without a shadow of a doubt you can't back it up. See,
he
this
said
is
it in person. It just happened to be caught online.
No. He said it in an interview, so he knew
it was in person to somebody.
He knew where it was going. He knew what was up. So my thing is, you know, the one thing that I definitely appreciate about Dr. Sanford, and mind you, back in the day, we didn't have a lot of platforms and stuff like that. So our platforms was very limited. Okay. But I remember Dr. Sanford would always say, hey, gang, don't go out there writing on any post or anything like that. All you got to do is put it on the field and leave it on the gridiron. You don't have to say anything to those guys. And so I just remember that we just didn't write a lot of stuff on the internet. We just didn't do that. And now we're really heavy into the social media era. And I guess, you know, he felt the need, or they felt the need to get out there and say some stuff. And I was sitting back like, ooh, because I remember Hampton back when we would go against them. And, you know, back then they were a little different than, you know, what they are now. You know, and I'm not saying they're terrible, but I will say that the representation that they gave versus what was said online, them two didn't match up at all. That's all I'm gonna say. And then shout out to the alma mater, obviously. I think that the Legion did a very, very good presentation on the field. I felt that their field presence was super dope. Some new things in there that I saw, some things that were a little different. But for the most part, a well-respected, very good show. Sound is definitely clean. You know, as a Legion member, I definitely see some things that obviously I could pick apart and pinpoint. But definitely a great showing for them for them coming out the gate. I think this was, if I'm not mistaken, their first game. So 100%. I think this is their first game. When did their first game? I think so. So, but yeah, so shout out to the Legion, shout out to Hampton too. No respect for them. You know, they definitely did a great job.
Wait, you said no respect for them?
I thought I said respect to them. Did I say no respect? My bad. Yeah. My bad. I guess I meant to say no disrespect to them.
I feel like you really want to say no respect.
That's what I wanted to say.
I think you said exactly what your heart had.
See, now you starting crapping. That's not what I was trying to do. I wasn't trying to be rude to nobody, man. I really wasn't trying to do that. Brother Quan, you say what?
Is the recorder on?
Not yet.
Oh.
Just okay. If I forget, just remind me before we get started, like really, really get started. Gotcha. All right, Brother Quan, what's going on, man?
What's up, Doc? Still at work, still getting it, obviously. But we had a senior presentation, so we trying to get everything early with our seniors and trying to get them squared away. We actually want to have a national fine arts signing day in April. So we trying to get it together starting now. That's all.
That is super dope. I hit the wrong button. There you go.
I didn't know what that was, but I was like, okay.
No, that was the Miss D Daddy that we set up a long time ago.
You heard what I said.
Yeah, that one. So and then that one.
Don't put that shit on my shirt.
So yeah. So that's what I accidentally hit the wrong button, man. My bad. But I meant to give you the applause. My fault. But yeah, man, you know how we usually roll. Anything band music wise that you can sing. I know we're gonna get into it today. But you know, what you got?
Shout out to my since I guess I'm honorary Norfolk. Shout out to them. I saw that battle against them in Hampton. You know, I'm just saying. You know, sometimes, you know, we write checks, you know, that bounce or can cash, you know. Sometimes, you know, it's better just to be quiet, you know. That's all I'm gonna just say, you know. I looked at that battle like you ever been in a situation when your partner talk like he could fight and then you see him get knocked out and then you be like you say, bro, it's gonna be all right. Like you gotta console him after.
Yeah, you gotta pick him up, make him like, hey man, it probably just was a bad day, you know, something like that. Yeah. No, I got you.
Yeah. So it's kind of like boy should have been like you know, they should have got that drum agent and been like, say, bro, you shouldn't have said that online, you know. But you know, I feel him. He had that pride or whatever. It's all good.
Okay.
That was it, bro.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought you was going into that. Hey, man, and real talk. I gotta say this, man. For all of our people out there who support us and watch us and all that kind of stuff, shout out to Crucial Conflict. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I was watching, because I was really, you know, I've seen the show on and off, you know what I'm saying, but I was really watching this last show. Shout out to Matt. Matt was saying some stuff, bro, that I was sitting up there like, yes, because him and Berger was going back and forth at each other, and Matt was like holding on, and so shout out to them for the conversation that they had. 100% to Crucial Conflict. All right, man. Well, then let's go ahead and get into it. I know y'all been ready to talk about this, and I know you've been fired up. Well, before we get into that though, I do want to bring this up because I know that me and Maya briefly talked about it for like 2 seconds. There's a clip going around of a young lady who was at a predominantly white institution who decided that she wanted to go and start a dance line, an HBCU style dance line at the institution. And there's been a lot of backlash and thoughts and flack on that. But I did, because I know Maya, you don't have a show this weekend. But I did just kind of want to get your thoughts on it, because by the time you had a show, it's gonna probably be gone by the end.
News, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I feel about it. Either way, like it ain't got nothing to do with me, so it's not like it's been, you know, really keeping me down. But I'm just like, it's like, okay, but I also feel the same way like FAMU, right? So I forget the girl's name, but it's a little bit different, but just in the sense of starting a majorette style or a HBCU style or black dance style, whatever you want to categorize it as, starting it somewhere where it was not implemented. It was not, I don't know. It's just not is. I don't really know how I feel about it, right? So I get it. I understand that, you know, arts, it may not be a particular place on that campus to where they feel that they can express themselves, or maybe this is something that they feel should be a part of the band culture there. But also I'm just forward thinking, who's going to maintain this? How is it going to go just years moving forward? Because I'm like, okay, are you going to keep non-African American people from joining? Like, is that going to be a thing? Is this like a blacks only type of deal? Is that okay? How does this align with everything that goes on with administration? Is this truly that something been cleared? I don't know. I have a lot of different thoughts about it. I mean, again, prior to the people, I love seeing people do exactly what they want to do, especially set out in spaces that's not necessarily meant for them. But the whole, you could have just went to HBCU, but I understand that there are other reasons that people choose their universities or colleges or whatever. So there's that. I don't know. I'm confused. I'm confused because also that's a good point. What are they going to dance to? Are they just dancing to band music, or is it just on? Do they dance to the DJ too? Who secures the spots? Like, do they get there 10 hours before the game and secure their little spot in the student section or whatever? I just have questions. I really want to know. Like, I feel like this is a thing that might be here today, gone tomorrow, because who is going to keep this up, and how is this going to stay alive? And it's just going to, I don't know. I don't want to wish bad on it. I just don't necessarily get it in full, and maybe it's not for me to get. Maybe it's not for me to get.
Yeah, when I first heard it, so my initial thought when I sent you the clip and asked had you seen it, my initial thought was, why did they just go to HBCU, right? But see, one of the things about me is I'm an equal opportunity listener. I try to always hear and listen both sides and see things from both sides, and then come up with my own opinions.
Sure.
So I looked at a lot of comments. I watched Roland Martin. I saw some thought processes from some other people. So my thought process about it just became a little bit different. There are some things that I still, I'm going to hold on to. So I understand the idea of, well, you don't always get the opportunity to go to HBCU. She may have been from, California, and she may not have wanted to go out, or was not able to go out, or they may have just been offering her a lot more money than historically Black college and university is doing. And so she had to, make that decision. So that within itself makes absolute sense for me. But I think on the flip side of that, the only thing, and shout out to Miss D, by the way, because I think Miss D reached out to them and reached out to the young lady and was like, hey, when y'all ready to come and get some work, hey, we gonna make it happen. And I was like, all right, that's dope. That's really dope that's happening. So so shout out to her. I think the only thing that I was curious about is I think some of the same things that you're curious about. Like, where does this go from here?
Yeah.
And is it exclusively for the chocolate folk?
Yeah.
Because what if it's a young, Caucasian lady on the campus who likes a lot of chocolate brothers, and it's like, hey, I like y'all, and I want to get down. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Is there exclusivity, just to the chocolate folk, or is it something that's open to everybody?
I want to know, are they ever going to get on the field? Does this perpetuate the thought of Stan being master over field? Are they going to dance at the basketball games? Do they dance on campus? Like, how far does this go? Where does the training come from? If there's any at all, who's supporting this? Again, I mean, listen, power to the people, but still, when it comes down to these types of organizations and dance lines or what have you, it is a lot to be able to maintain. It's not just, oh, let's order some uniforms and let's get in the stands. There's so much that if you want to have a quality type of product. So professional dancers looking for an experience outside the norm. Okay, I mean, that's fair. But again, just, I don't know. There's so many caveats to it. So we could have this conversation all day, but until, you know what I'm saying? Like, if we were to have a member on, then we can really get down to it. You know what I'm saying? But it's just really he say, she say at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, I mean, more power to her, and shout out to the young lady who started it, and shout out to the young ladies who are participating, because I think at the end of the day, they are up against a lot.
Oh, for sure.
You're up against the backlash of people who just honestly and earnestly disagree with it, from the masses. You're probably going to be up against some of the backlash from the student body, who believe that is not in the traditional standard of USC. So it's just it's going to be a lot, and shout out to her for taking that leap and just making it happen. So hey, that on that front, hey, I'm all for it. I support it. Now, I do have one final question, and maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. The term majorette.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, majorettes were dance lines at one point, right? Or were they always twirlers? Because if I go back in my mental Rolodex, and for young folks, y'all probably don't even know what a Rolodex is, but if I go back in my mental Rolodex, wasn't the Black Foxes called the majorettes before they were Black Foxes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now this is where it gets interesting, because if we want to talk about the term when it was coined, I believe majorette had to deal with baton twirlers or of the like. Now, yes, there are dance teams who are called majorettes. It has become a style as opposed to like a frame of reference, as opposed to a particular art form, like twirling versus flag versus this versus that. So that's where you get into the weeds of it. But if I am not mistaken, I believe when it was originally coined, majorette was specific to baton twirling. But I mean, I could be wrong. So
Yeah, I was watching that argument through a lot of conversations and stuff. So I was just really curious the root of it.
right.
Because I have seen dance lines, and I'm talking about old school dance lines, not like recent dance lines. I'm talking about 80s and 70s lines that were called majorette lines before they became, given their actual names today.
For sure.
So, yeah, I saw you about to put that cookie in his mouth when you put the camera. Smits. Oh man, you about to smit us. Yeah, go ahead. You can take a bite out of crime. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. Let's get to the meat of this conversation. Let's do it the right way. Let's start it all the way from the beginning, and I'm gonna hit record. So here we go. Welcome everybody to Talk That Talk, where we have the unfiltered, unscripted, uncomfortable conversations about band, HBCU band culture, music education, and more. Man, y'all go ahead and smash that like daddy. I think today is going to be a really, really interesting conversation. And look, while I'm on smashing that like daddy, I tell y'all all the time, I don't even care if you give it a thumbs down. Just go ahead and help that YouTube algorithm. All right. Also, please make sure you subscribe to the Passion Is Network and turn on notifications. This episode will be up on all your podcasts and networks. Just type in Talk That Talk, except for Apple Podcasts, where you can type in Real Talk That Talk. All right. Let's go ahead and get to this. So, Maya, I don't know if you saw it or not. You probably did. You probably didn't. I think you did though. So on this past weekend, Texas Southern and Southern went back and forth with each other, and we already knew that was going to be an interesting thing off top. I watched everything. I watched the zero quarter. I watched the fifth. I watched the halftime. I went back, and because some people started posting the sectional battles and things of that nature, but the talk of the town right now is the halftime. And so I think I found out about the halftime because Quan texted us first. And so I was like, I don't know, but let me go investigate. And so I went and investigated, found the clip. I think Showtime was live. I think it was, who was it?
I saw it was off of Bandhead Network.
Okay, so I think it was both of them. They might have both been there. But anyway, so I went back and looked at it and found it, and it was very interesting, to say the least. I have never in my life, at least from my recollection, ever seen a program stop the middle of the halftime show to go and crank on somebody else's band. I've never in my life seen that.
Livingston did it at one time.
You say what?
I think it's Livingston College. They did it one time.
So then that means I never seen it, because nobody cares about Livingston. But I mean, hey, who's watching Livingston? I'm just saying. I mean, no power to that band program. The directors out there doing their thing. I'm just saying.
But they did it in I think it was 2012, 2013.
Then I surely didn't care about it, because I was at PV at the time. So if it was 2012, I really didn't care. But no slight to them. I'm just saying, I've never seen that before. And I thought it was interesting, and for me it didn't get even more interesting until I watched, I think it was Smash Time's video, Justin's video. I think it was two other people who were on that side when it happened, and just seeing the aftermath of it all, and even the process of when it was happening. The energy that Brian was given, the energy that the assistants were given at Southern. And I was looking at all the comments online, and one of the things that I found interesting, just me personally, was the excitement for the ignorant shite. That for me is what really, really caught my eye. Not necessarily the thing that took place itself, but just the excitement of everybody and watching what had happened. And everybody is like, oh yeah, band is back, baby. And I'm like, okay, all right, if that's what it is. All right, so we're gonna talk about that today because I know that some people have some thoughts, some their own personal feelings, and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I say, I'm an equal opportunity listener. I'm gonna always listen to every single side and form my own opinions. But today we're gonna talk about it today. All right. So here's the first topic, or here's the first question coming out here: ignorant versus honest rivalry. Where is the difference? Ignorant versus honest rivalry. Where is the difference? I'm gonna start with you, Quan, because I know Maya like that ignorant shite. I'm just saying. She read it.
I mean, okay, so let's truly analyze it. Overall, both programs, right? 1 second, it's a student. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he got it. He got it. He's still in his teacher mode. So y'all bear with the young brother. We saving Maya's ignorance for later.
Sorry. I apologize. All right, so let's analyze both programs. Coming into this year, I think a lot of people anticipated Brian Simmons to improve from last year, right? So we're just gonna be honest. Last year was a building year. I'm not gonna say it's a bad year, but it was a building year, right? And last year, we're gonna be honest, Southern spanked them last year, just period. That was the video of Power went viral, everything like that with brother Kedrick Taylor. Like, I think that was like the beginning of it, right? And I think this year, Texas Southern has improved tremendously. And I think this was their year that was like, hey, y'all did all that power stuff last year, but we see your power and we're gonna raise you this ignorant shite, as you said, right? Here's the issue that I have. That part, regardless if you like it or didn't like it, okay, we're gonna say it's for the culture. Now, personally, I didn't too much care for it. This is why. Because I didn't like the field show. In my opinion, I feel like you raise the bar on blowing, nobody does it better, to have a subpar field show. Yeah, you put the numbers on the field, but what was the exciting part of the field? Because I'm also going from the great showing that they did at Prairie View. So you go from a great showing that you had at PV, right, on the field. You did a great show. I think they played North Texas, I believe, and then now this one. And so I know I see Justin talking about wow, but for me, my thing is everything could have been better. Like, real talk, all they did was run to the side and blow, right? So outside of that, tell me what was impeccable about the field show.
Was that a rhetorical question? You asking me?
Yeah, I'm just saying, period. Like, even for the people in the comments, like, outside of them running to the side and blowing, and that's like we said for the Prairie View game, the motions continuously, they're getting better. Like, we can agree to that. But my question is, outside of them running to the side and blowing, what was it? What was episodic about that? And I'm not hating, I'm just being sincere. It's like, I think when you speak about rivalry and whatnot, it's like, okay, if we gonna call it, are you gonna give the dub to Texas Southern this year and last year Southern had it? Okay. I think it could be a rivalry, but my thing is, at the end of the day, I just want schools to hone in on their own identity. That's just my aspect. And that's just my 2 cents. I did watch the field show, Justin. I did. I watched the entire field show. I watched it 3 times, and I don't have no dog in the fight of none of it. I just feel like, honestly, I was looking at the trajectory in regards of pageantry, not ignorant shite. And so I feel like, kind of like how we talk about stand versus field show, I feel like the field show aspect took a backward step to go run on the side and blow. And even when it comes to specific sound and timbre and overall tonality, both of them damn near sound the same. I think I would give the edge to Southern. I think Southern has a cleaner sound, specifically on the tax and releases. I did like how they played. I guess it was the Rocky song. That was something that was different. But just being sincere, I don't see. And this is not a slight to any of those Texas Southern directors, but I don't see what was different, or what was like, oh man, like that was fire. I just didn't.
All right. Here we go. I've been waiting on. Ignorant versus honest rivalry. Where's the difference, Maya?
Oh my gosh. Okay, wait. Let me clarify. Quan, you were saying whose show wasn't that great? Just so I know.
Texas Southern.
Okay. That's what I thought that you were saying, but I just want to be clear. I'm catching up right now, so I haven't watched either field show in its entirety. Don't do that. Listen.
I just came to dance for y'all. That's all.
That's all. Period. But no, so to the question, ignorant versus honest rivalry, where's the difference? I think the difference, or that line, is when you cross blatant disrespect. I just think that that's really more so honest rivalry versus ignorant. When we get to the point where we're blatantly disrespecting each other, I mean, disrespect can be, oh, I'm out, oh, no, you didn't, or it can be like some funny shit, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying yes or no to that, but it's more so blatant disrespect, right? So if we're planning out how disrespectful can we be, or what's really gonna get the people going, that's not really honest rivalry. Honest rivalry to me is we're putting up our best, you put up your best, and the best of the best is who wins, right? That's that, right? And okay, so let's take it back. Y'all remember the bus picture, the PV bus picture from whatever year that was, 12, 13?
12. Yeah, I remember that.
That's ignorant, you know what I'm saying? Because there's nothing honest about that. And I can say that because that's my hometown. Sophie, no. What are you doing? Sorry. I don't know what she was doing over there, but it's really just that, right? It's to the point where we cross the line of blatant disrespect. How nasty can we get in terms of what's really going the entertainment value? I think that's where the ignorant shit come from. What's really gonna get the numbers up? What's really gonna get the people riled up? Whatever. That's just ignorant. That's just how I feel about it. What else are you asking me?
So I'm gonna give you an example. I don't know if you saw this, Maya, but it was a few years ago, and everybody in the comment, correct me if I'm wrong. I think when it was having the Queen City Battle of the Band, Talladega had like blue on, I think, FAMU, like while they were on the field, like they were about to start marching. That's blatant disrespect. Or when Alabama State started their field show and literally marched through Tuskegee while they still were doing their dance routine. That's blatant disrespect, in my opinion. Now, I think, like I say, what TSU did, I don't think it was disrespectful because it was like their time. And then Miles did it to Talladega, so where like they couldn't even start their field show. But I mean, it is what it is. But my thing is, I don't think what TSU did was disrespectful. I think it was ignorant. Because I feel like, in my opinion, that was a time to showcase your pageantry because y'all was going back and forth in the stands anyway.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? So it's kind of like you sacrificed these specific counts to basically scramble to the side while they was marching to blow on them when you could have did that in the stand because y'all was going back and forth. So that's my thing. So what's the difference? I don't understand that.
No, I feel you. So when I'm saying I'm just saying in general, right? So me saying blatant disrespect is not me saying yes or no to TSU being blatantly disrespectful. I'm just to the question itself with no strings attached, no schools attached. Now I feel you, that was ignorant, right? And so I was also thinking, so TSU's current head band director went to Southern, correct? Did TSU play Southern's arrangement of
Nobody does it.
yes? Did they
Yeah.
play? They played their actual arrangement.
Yeah, because he wrote it.
I feel it.
Yeah, he wrote it.
I assume so. That just adds to the ignorance, right? That just adds to extra ignorance.
But see, watch this. Honest rivalry would be when TSU played our Genesis.
Sure, honest rivalry. PVTSU, PV Grambling. That's honest rivalry. You know what I'm saying? The umbrella, right? Umbrella 07.
We did umbrella and 09 with the umbrellas.
With the actual
I'm sorry,
umbrella. You know, that's not ignorant. I wouldn't say that's ignorant. That's like, what are we gonna do? That's still us. That ain't no that's coming out of, bringing something out our ass that makes it seem like okay. Now I ain't seen that before. That's when you get to honest rivalry.
I think you explained it perfectly when you said the best of who you are. So, sure. For example, when I become a college band director, if God says, "Well, Quan, you will be in the SWAC," if I'm playing PV, yes, the truth is you're going to be like, "Hey, I'm gonna be more amped up." Prime example: if Luke is a collegiate band director and I'm a collegiate band director, we're gonna call and we're gonna clown that whole week. Well, we may not. I don't know. But I know my mindset is I need to out musically play Luke, not ignorant stuff. You see what I'm saying? It's like I think that's my thing. And again, both of them were going back and forth, blowing in the stands. Okay, but you sacrifice and the one thing I must say, Southern stayed Southern. I think when it becomes something when a person becomes out of their character, we've never seen that from TSU. Now, of course, they have another person on the helm, but what did it say? In my opinion, from a director's standpoint, I feel like their field show to a degree took a sacrifice to do that. So,
question: when the opposing band marches into Mumford and Southern starts to blow, because you can almost count without a doubt, that is expected. Is that ignorant or is that honest rivalry? Can ignorant shit? Can ignorant shit be?
I expect for you to say it. I just said I wasn't saying it. Ignorant. I'm saying ignorant shite. I mean, I know you gonna say it anyway, but go ahead.
Is that if something is not expected, is it rivalry or is it still ignorant? I don't know. This just is gonna keep going layers and layers and layers and layers and layers. Because what is the I think maybe it's also the purpose behind it too, right? Because I think the purpose of them doing that is you're not welcome here, just so you know that your ass going in that corner over there. Okay, be cool. This our shit, and we want to see. It's fine.
But I don't know. I think for me, I don't think that that's ignorant. I think that's just honest rivalry, right?
Well, that was my question. I mean, I don't care either way. I like the shit.
Honest rivalry is like marching into Jackson and getting hit with the pom-pom daddies. Like, to me, that's just an honest rivalry. I think there's a difference between ignorant and honest rivalry.
Now, let me tell you something about them damn pom-poms. That shit hurts, okay? Because they will try your best. They be trying to whack the gotcha.
I mean, I watched y'all go through it.
Now wait.
Yeah, we ain't get hit with them pom-pom daddies. Y'all did. But I remember the warnings that we would always give before we went. But no, I just think that I think there is a difference between the two, you know. But I don't know. I as I'm reading the comments, I'm inclined to ask this question:
what
does SWAC equal ignorant?
Yes.
Really? This is news to me.
Did you not want to be in the SWAC because it's too ignorant?
No. First of all, let me go back. Let's go back some steps because since you asked that question, I wanted to only be in the SWAC for the trumpet section.
Okay.
I wanted to either be a part of the Screaming Demons or Trump Funk. That was it.
Fair.
Now, when I was a young kid coming up, now mind you, I always got to put this caveat out there. I'm older than y'all. But even watching old clips like that, was there honest rivalry? Yes. Was there ignorant shite? No. I don't remember watching ignorant shite except for like fights and stuff. Like,
I
mean, the throwing of the hands, that now to me, that was normal, but I think that was just normal band stuff everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Because Norfolk used to fight in the 90s, like a lot.
Fair.
You know what I'm saying? So that I think that's normal. But for me as an older person looking at old SWAC, unless there were things that were happening that just were not recorded,
Yes.
I don't remember me personally looking at the SWAC and just remembering seeing ignorant shite.
Bro,
honest rivalry, yes.
Bro. So I'm gonna just say this real quick. So I remember when I think it was the early 2000s when FAMU went into the Southern, I believe. Man, them boys was spitting on them. Like, you want to keep it 1,000 about disrespect? They had dudes in Southern band for my last time seeing Southern, God rest the day, when Prof Ed's last football game, I believe it was 08 Southern. Bro, they had dudes at the top that were from Southern that was trying to spit on us. That's ignorant, disrespectful shit. You feel what I'm saying?
Are we talking about crowd or are we talking about band?
But we talking about juke stuff.
Oh, that's not what I'm talking about.
See, you talking about a former. You talking about a dude who's not in the uniform.
But what's the difference between with the palms?
True. That's true.
Fair. Now, what I'm saying is, if you ask the question, basically, the SWAC equal ignorant? Yes, because it's the persona of the SWAC, right? So the SWAC itself, it's loud, it's boisterous, it's flamboyant. If you want to talk about the definition, the true definition of flamboyant, it's entertainment. It's big, it's rowdy, and it's in your face. That's what quote unquote could make it ignorant. And it's very much it's heavy. It's all about like, no, we the best, no, we better, no, we number one, no, we like that's just when I think about the SWAC, it's the true definition of a big ass black man like this, whose name is Tiny. You know what I'm saying? Like that. That's the persona of the SWAC.
And you know what, love? I respectfully disagree because depending on what era that you come from. So I look at it.
That's fair too.
That's all I was saying.
So I look at it like so when. Well, I mean, but even I think it's more ignorant now than it was then because I look at it. I just look at it like the early 2000s, late 90s. Boys was like, bro, I'm out play you, though. Like
that's all I was saying. It was like, because right. It was. I said, I'm older, so I was watching 94, 95, 96, 89. Like those. That's what I was watching. I wasn't watching 2000. Like by the end, I was good and in college. I didn't care.
Yeah, like so you got to realize, like at that time, it was like when you play Purple Carnival, I'm gonna play Barnum and Bailey. You gonna play Rolling Thunder, I'm gonna play another one. It's like that was it. Okay, you did a dance routine. Okay, we gonna do a fire dance. Like it was like that. You play a song in the stand, we gonna play a more technical song. And I think to some of that we've lost. And then the most important
honest rivalry.
Exactly.
SWAC was the epitome of honest rivalry,
right? But then it goes to the example of the stigma that the SWAC has. Now I think the SWAC is aggressive, like, and I think pending on and we just have to be honest, the faces of the SWAC will forever and always be Southern University and now is Jackson State. In the early 80s and he said I'm on that boo-boo, was Southern University, and back in the day 80s to like 90s was Grambling. Those were the two faces. But now it's Southern and Jackson. And I think with the prompt of Deion Sanders, it's kind of like depending on what region you're in. But my thing is the SWAC is aggressive, but now, and it's more ignorant now due to social media. Look at Crankface. Look at those different things. But back then, man, it was about I'm about to outplay you. You know what I'm saying? Southern was the only one that was blowing on people when you marched in. And then then they did it. So then I saw Alcorn do it. And you know what I'm saying? It was that type. So we gonna just be honest, Southern has been trendsetters, but their attitude, and we gonna just be honest, their swagger as a band, and I think trickled to other people. And to now where it's on social media to where you got people that's not even Jukes that has that attitude and stigma now as well. Where I think if you just gonna be honest, Maya, PV will never have that type of persona.
Fair.
Never.
Fair. But I think I don't know. So yes, you're right when you say aggressive. Now we want to talk about ignorant versus honest rivalry. I think it also depends on which particular band we're talking about too. I think TxSu, and when I say pull this off, I don't mean that I'm okay with. I'm just neutral in the situation, right? The fact that this happened and TxSu did it is not surprising to me, right? Of course they did. Is my response to it. Of course they did, because it fits to me and what I know and what I've experienced. It fits the persona of their band in that university or what have you. So
that's the funny thing to me, right? Like,
what?
I don't disagree with you, but I disagree with you, right? Because I've watched a lot of.
Who else gonna do some shit like that? What other band is doing that?
No. That's what I'm saying. I don't disagree with you, but I disagree with you because I watched a lot of era of TxSu.
Fair.
The era that I originally know about, the Benjamin Butler and the Ronald Thornton and Richard Lee years. Outside of the Ocean of Stole and all that kind of stuff, that's not what they were known for. It didn't really start that thought process didn't really start coming around until the mid to late 90s. And so now I get what you're saying. So like I disagree, but I agree at the same time, because it's just like you're absolutely right. It's, to me, watching that, when I watched that, I was like, it's TxSu.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you were with PV that year that we did that performance for, I think it was Jack Yates' homecoming or something like that. But anyway, we did a performance. It was like Jack Yates versus Austin, and it was like Jack Yates' homecoming or something like that.
It was a parade.
No, it was at their stadium during the game. But when we left, it was TxSu dudes in the parking lot with like ready to like play, and I'm like,
horns.
Bro, y'all not even this. Y'all, it's like 5 of y'all. Why are y'all here? Like, it doesn't. So it. I get what you're saying, and when I saw it, I was like, it's TxSu. That kind of makes sense.
So not that they get a pass, but it's almost as like they get a pass, because it's like, that's just what they do. Like that's just them, right?
But watch this, to answer Smash Time, to answer your question. What PV did to Miles at the Battle Band was that was not being bullied. Because if we're gonna be honest, Miles ran that song and looped that song by 15 good times. And I think Dr. Zachary was like, bro, go run and play this, because they're not stopping. I think there's a difference when we talk about honest rivalry, ignorance, and just holding your own ground and having pride in yourself that a person is not gonna bully you. I think that's a difference. I don't think PV ever was on some ignorant stuff. But I think we've always strived to, regardless if we gonna hang or not, that's not cap, bro. It's not. I'm telling you that
situation. What is this?
Yeah. Like what he was talking about.
Was that Miles or was that Alcorn?
That was Miles.
It was Miles.
Oh.
But let me say this. Because I get what you're saying, Quan. I get exactly what you're saying. And let's be real. There have been history of bands overplaying another band because they got tired of that band playing.
Yeah.
Willow Ridge did it to Southwestern Cab in 2001. Go check the video. Southwestern Cab was looping some song long as hell, and Mr. Thornton was like, "Hey man, let's just go ahead and play what was it? Never Satisfied right over him." Right? So I think there is years of that happening, but I'm gonna have to agree with Justin on that. That is kind of ignorant, though. It is. It is. It's not honest rivalry. It's like it's mad disrespectful at the end of the day. That's ignorant. It is.
I feel like, bro. I feel personally like you're not gonna just keep poking the bear, bro. That's how I feel. You ain't gonna just keep sitting here and loop this song like it's a fire track on a CD player, and you didn't loop it 17 times.
I don't disagree with that part. I don't disagree with that part. I don't want to hear that mess over and over again. That's like I was talking. We were watching the Hampton joint. Me and my wife were watching the Hampton joint, and it just took me back to a time when I was in Norfolk and listening to Hampton's long loop songs. And I remember sitting in the stands. And this is the thing that would frustrate me about the Legion back in the day. We wouldn't do that to anybody. We would sit there and wait till that loop was over until we started playing. And I'd be like, bro, like, no, we cannot just sit here and just like let them loop this over and over. I'm tired of hearing the same song. So, but at the end of the day, it's still ignorant though. It's still ignorant. It's still ignorant.
It got a reaction. It got a reaction out of me from the first time I saw it because Doc, right? Doc is very respectful, right? He gonna let you have it because at the end of the day, he like, well, shit, I know what I brought to the table, right? But it's that small 10% that he got in him when he be feeling like, all right.
but I think the difference was because I don't think we ever saw PV like that in a minute. So that was number one. And then two.
And what we ain't seen them like that because of what? They have been exemplifying reserve. They have been exemplifying corporate. We just gonna do our job for the longest, right? So when Doc got that itch, that step in his bag is that ignorant itch that lives deep, that's off in this corner right here, that only come out a lot. Shit. I
ain't gonna lie, but here's what make it better though. They sounded great, and
that's what makes it even better.
Because if you do that and you be trash, then you just
I only wish that I was dancing at that moment.
I was there. That was my first year at Worthy, and my kids was like, "God damn, nigga, that's PV. Like that's PV."
You know what was bad? I was there with my students. We left right before that.
Oh, yeah.
Because you gotta remember, we had to drive back to Dallas. So we were like, yeah, we gotta go. And as soon as we got outside, we just heard like somebody cranking up. We was like, God, who was that? Then we go back and look at the video, and I'm like, oh, we missed it, man. But here's what made it worse. I had a former student in Miles' band at that time. And so I was like, when he came back to the band room, I was like, yeah, man, y'all got cracked out. Like, y'all got cracked out. He was like, no, Luke, we ain't. Yeah, I did.
I think the worst part about that was it was kind of like selling dreams, right? Because for everybody that lived in that moment, they was like, okay, now we back to it, but not knowing that that's gonna only happen once out of 10 times, like if that 0.5 out of 10 times. But anyway, I'm gonna be the dead horse.
But I must say this though, right after that, they had a different energy for the show. And I think either that the day after, that same energy rolled over because they had a whole different show for the field show for TxSu. So the energy, but it was energy though.
Because ignorant shit get you hyped. That's why.
I told you she ignorant, man. She is Dallas.
I must say this though. Me and Mike, we don't need to go to no club because I'm gonna have to have a pistol on me because I'll be like, yeah, we about to fight, huh? Yeah,
for sure. But no, like it's nothing.
I thought we realized that when we all hung out. I could have swore we all realized that when her and Portia went downstairs. Security guard. Hey man, y'all weren't there, but if y'all were there, Portia, I think it was me, Quan, Maya, Portia, my wife, Quan, we were all there. And Maya and Portia gets up because they weren't gonna let Justin in at first. I'm telling the story, Justin. They weren't gonna let him in at first. Maya and Portia gets up, goes downstairs, and was ready to rough up the security guard.
Hey, if Justin never felt loved, he was loved that day because boys was like, "This our first time, but we gonna gonna
All
stick
right, for sure. Because what you mean? I don't do that disrespectful like BS. Like, especially if you ain't got no reason, or I really know what the reason is. Let's be clear. No, I don't move like that.
I told y'all my ignorant. Y'all don't. Hey, listen.
I am.
I'm just letting y'all know. That's why I
I'm
was ready to talk.
ignorant. I'm
I was ready to talk about this because I wanted to see what she was gonna say. All right, so let's move on to the next question, man. Here we go. Welcome everybody to Talk That Talk. We have the unfiltered, unscripted, uncomfortable conversations about band, HBCU, band culture, music education, and more. Man, y'all go ahead and smash that like, daddy. Don't wait. Y'all can even give us a thumbs down. It is what it is. All right. Also, please make sure you subscribe to the Passion Is Network and turn on notifications. This episode will be up on all your podcast networks at Talk That Talk, or you can type in or go to Apple Podcasts and type in Real Talk That Talk. All right, here we go. Next question. He was about to get whooped before they get. You were talking about you wouldn't even go come. You was like, no, I'm good. I'm gonna just go back to the roof. Come on, dog. Now, come on. I ain't trying to be funny. I ain't trying to call you out, bro. But I'm just saying. All right, but they still had your back though. All right, let's go to the next one. Has HBCU bands? Dang, I messed that up. Are HBCU bands measured by loud and disrespect now? Are HBCU bands measured by loud and disrespect now? And I got to rewrite that, by the way. See, my bad. I was typing in a rush. Oh, Maya, you can start it off, by the way.
Yes. I mean, who you asking, right? I think that there is a difference between who you ask and what rooms are these conversations being held in. But anything that's not a yes is that don't even matter. Yeah. I think for the masses now and what matters now and what is considered the rubric of today, yes. It's who's gonna be the loudest, who's gonna get the hype out of everybody, who's not necessarily like who. I don't want to know who's gonna be the first person to throw that tuba up inside or smack somebody with that tuba up. I don't think it's that, but I do think it's more so just who gonna be the first one to do some ignorant shit. Like it's really that. Of course, it depends on. Like I wouldn't go to a Norfolk game and expect to see something like that, but in the SWAC, which is out where I am. Yeah.
See that? I don't know. That bothers me. But go ahead. I'll come back.
I think
no, you're good. You're good.
Think that to me, if I look at the MEAC, right, there's something
or what's left
there's something very classy. It's very upright. It's very righteous. It's very. This is the persona, and this is also an ignorant in the definition of ignorant, not knowing, not having much knowledge of. Okay, this is the persona that I give versus this SWAC, right? So yeah, I think that it's really about who's playing, who's outplaying who gonna crank up on who and drown them out. Or if we're gonna go back and forth, if I play Genesis, are you gonna play Genesis back? Am I gonna play it right back again? Are you gonna play it right back? And who's gonna be the best of the 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4, whatever. But yeah, yes is the answer.
Okay, and we're gonna circle back around in a second. Quan, are HBCU bands measured by loud and disrespect now?
Pending the conference, yeah. I mean, and so what I had to honestly, I had to go back and do some research, bro. Everybody's saying the MEAC was like lighthearted and conservative. Nah, bro. Because if you look at them 2000 clips of like the DZX versus Howard and Hampton, that gym battle with Morris Brown, if you go look back at was it 09 Norfolk, go look back at old Virginia State and whatnot with horsepower and whatnot, them boys was cranking. But I think the difference was the presentation of it, and I think that's the difference. The presentation of it was, say, bro, we're gonna crank on you, but like you're going to hear our articulation. Not saying, and when I say that, I'm not coming across like the SWAC doesn't have that, but I think it's the stigma of or perception of what we've been saying tonight. People from MEAC feel like the SWAC is just loud, blaring, and wrong. Excuse me. People from the SWAC feel like MEAC is pretty, bright, and friendly. And I think we have we've misconstrued each other's conference, because you look at some of them old MEACs, they're cranking. You look at some old SWAC, very clear, very playing with clarity, so forth and so on. My favorite band, real talk, of an era is like the 90s would be 95 Southern. That's one of my favorite Southern bands, period. That era, and then I will go honestly to Hamer. And then, as time progresses, we'll see the next era. But that's some of the most clearest Southern clips you're gonna have. I love and appreciate, everybody gonna appreciate Fam. Everybody, one thing was universal, what we're gonna say in the MEAC is they sound great. They're gonna have their specific own timbre, own sound, own tonality, but they're going to sound great. So I don't understand the dichotomy with each other, but I must say what will get you likes is loud and disrespect, the loud and ignorance. That's what's going to get you the likes. But what I realize is it's going to be a day where it's only going to get you so far, because they're going to have a band that's going to be loud, that's going to be articulate, that's going to be cranking, and then people going to realize they just outplayed you. And that, in my opinion, will carry you further than being loud, disrespectful, or trend setting at that moment.
So, and I know Maya, you're about to say something. Hold your thought very quickly, because I need to go ahead and clarify this real quick about this whole MEAC thing. And Quan kind of touched on it, but being a person in the MEAC from the South, really, let's be very, very clear here. And I typically don't say this, because I'm trying to walk right with the Lord. So I typically don't say certain things, live, but I'm gonna go ahead and just say it. We were some niggas back then. Okay. Now I don't know what's happening now, and I'm not gonna pretend to know what's happening now, but I know who we were back then. Okay. I marched in a band with Negroes from New Orleans, Detroit, Texas, and if you don't know nothing about Richmond used to be the murder capital of the world. So I marched with them. We were niggas. The difference is, and this is no slight to any director or anything like that, it's the fact that the people that were ahead of us would contain us from being those people. There were many times, and I think too, well, I'll say what I want to say and then I'll come back to that. But there were many times we would be in a gym battle and be ready to fight. The difference is we'd be ready to fight because we knew we could play better. We wouldn't be ready to fight just off some aggressive stuff. We like, hey, we're better than you. Stop trying to be better than us. Like, it's just not gonna happen. And we be ready to throw hands. If you go back and watch some of them gym battles, you will see there were many a times when they had to start creating this imaginary line for us, because we were like every year slowly crossing over that line, and they were trying to stop us so many times. Like, I think it bothers me, the idea that people think that we were just these pity pat people that just didn't. I'm not saying that's what you said, Maya. I'm not saying that's what you said, because I know you ready to say it. I'm just saying there's just this thought process and this stigma that thinks that there was a lack of aggression with us. We just didn't have leaders and directors who would allow us to be that way. Not to mention the fact that a lot of us were on scholarship. So if we did X amount of thing against what the director said, that means we out of there. I'm sorry, but if I'm on scholarship, I'm not trying to lose my scholarship because I'm ready to throw hands. Like Quan brought that Morris Brown battle up. That was my freshman year, bro. Like the Dizzy Act battle between us and Morris Brown. Like, I had a chip on my shoulder that day, and all of us did, because one, we were already upset because Morris Brown was in this movie, and we was like, we deserve to be in that movie because we better than them, right? I'm coming in as a rookie, coming from the South, and in my brain, I'm like, these trash. And I wanted to go there at one time, so I needed to show them what they missed out on because they didn't pick me up for the scholarship. So I'm already aggressive. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. For me, I just have a problem with the idea that people just feel like we weren't aggressive. We were aggressive. We just didn't have directors in that same vein with us. There was just, they wanted to keep a certain prestige. Like I told you earlier, Dr. Sanford was like, keep it on the gridiron, gang. That's just not what we're going to do. That's just how he was. So that didn't mean that was our perception, because there's some bands in the MEAC that was some niggas. Like everybody kept saying it. Virginia State back in the day, they was some niggas. A&T back in the day, A&T. These are the same people who after the game in 2012, as we are marching back to go get dressed, A&T is marching back behind us and blowing on the building in which we're in getting dressed. We're inside of the building sitting there saying, bro, let's go and rally up. Let's go. And the directors is like, no, get dressed. We going. So I like I said, that's not who we are. That's just where the directors wanted us to be. Sorry, I had to go and explain that because I get tired of that MEAC thing, that thought process. But go ahead, Maya. I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. I feel you, right? And so I do understand. It's not the individual makeup, right? It's truly the persona, which you clarified and said that is the powers that be. That was their vision or what they would or would not allow. So I get that. However, I want to be clear when I say it's it's the persona of the unit, right? The product in and of itself. And that may be because of the directors who like things a certain way, or who would not have body bag Genesis on Miles, right? So that may not have ever happened, right? Fine. But that's just ignorant, right? Ignorant, not ignorant, ignorant as defined in Webster's Webster. You know, so okay, I'll just leave it at that, right? So it's just more so it's not the individuals, it's the makeup as a whole, right? So when y'all enter, you enter in a particular way and it presents itself in such a way that you can put that under the vertical of that's a little bit more classy than saying ayo and rocking back and forth or whatever the case may be, or what that looks like, blowing on your way in or what have you. But again, it's all stapled in the sense of being ignorant or the lack of knowledge and experience.
Okay. Let me say this. Yeah, we did play South Carolina State. Back when I first got to Norfolk, though, South Carolina State wasn't the South Carolina State that y'all later knew South Carolina State to be when Eddie Ellis got there. By the time I stopped marching, that's when Eddie Ellis was there. And you know, those guys faced off against that South Carolina State. All right, so here's a tag to go on to this question, because a lot of people and some of you guys said the same thing about the measure of HBCU bands being loud and disrespectful. How does that play out to the outside world? How does that play out to the outside world? And if you don't understand the question, I can elaborate.
Please elaborate.
So what I'm asking is, when people see situations like what just happened, and let's just say by happenstance, I'm a young guy who just graduated from blah 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 blah, and I want to go get a job or a position somewhere, a music educator position or something like that, and you walk into a room and they remember that video, they see that video. How does that play out? How do you all feel like people perceive that when it comes to historically Black colleges and universities and band programs?
If we just gonna be honest about it, it's a double-edged sword. And I say that, and I'm just, as we're on the show, I also read the comments, because all of us on this show is a talk that talk family. And we just gonna be honest, bro. Some of that does come back and come back to bite you in the butt. It does. Because we all know that this society, if one black person does it and it's a person outside of our culture, they assume that we all do it because they're ignorant to the culture. So I've been in interviews where people have stated schools like, hey, you went to what music department did you graduated from? And I stated it, and people have said, and we're talking about fine arts directors, like, yeah, I don't know if it's PV or TSU, but didn't y'all do XYZ and wasn't certified in this? Like, because all they hear is the school and university, and then they give ignorant, in the words of an ignorant shite, blanket statements about that particular program. The truth is, we are judged. Unfortunately, we are judged by affiliation. Because, prime example, if you're in that white community or just say drum corps community, and you literally say that I was a Blue Devil, they assimilate you with greatness. They assimilate you with expertise. If you are in the black world, and even we must say that, if you associate yourself with the human jukebox in a black community and you said you were a screaming demon back in the day, right? They assimilate you with being a great trumpet player. Or if you were I don't know what the trombone section is from Jackson State, but if you were assimilated with them, you know what I'm saying? It's people associate you with the company that you kept. And that's just the reality of it. So me being honest, if a white person or a person outside of the black culture saw that and didn't understand it, and it wasn't their preference, and you get in a job setting or a professional setting, they may associate you and be like, no, we don't want him because that wasn't our standard. That was ignorant to them. So, I mean, it just depends, bro. Like, it's pros and cons. And I'm not saying TSU have to not be them, but we all have to truly be mindful of the presentation that we present. Again, go back to that Bill Cosby example. That could have been a great, tactic, but how did we present it to the masses? So.
Okay. Are you scratching your head because you're thinking, or are you scratching your head because you're itching?
Both.
Oh, okay.
I feel you, right? That makes sense. I think it's more so like, yes, I agree with exactly what you're saying, but I also think that for me it's a little bit different, right? Because the likelihood that the circles that I am now in that are going to see, or that it's a very small chance that I would run into that type of circumstance during or because of the circles that I'm in now, right? So I think that that's kind of a catch-22 depending on where your focus lies or where your career or the industry related to it. I also think that, I mean, if that's the case, if you get slammed with one of those, to me, it's just like, okay, well, it's me being black or whatever. They were going to think that shit anyways. You know what I'm saying? And if it changes or alters that you cannot do anything with me or lend a hand or whatever, it's going to come back to bite me anyways, right? So that just tells me exactly who you are. So it's not something that I want to be a part of anyways. However, for the sake of the question, I get exactly what you're saying. I think that it could be detrimental. Again, that depends on the circles in which you're paying it forward in. But it's just more so one show ain't gonna make someone or not or whatever change their mind about who they think black people are, who they think I am. You know what I'm saying? So like,
I'm sorry, I know you're really starting to get in your bag. But when you did both sides, it was like the same color. I'm sorry. You did one side and the other. I was in my mind. I was like, I ain't see a difference.
Fair, very fair, very fair. Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Shit. That's cold. I'm going to get some sun this weekend. Okay. I'm going on vacation. So, but like I said, I don't think that one one thing is going to make or break age old or just the way that somebody is built or their willingness to choose ignorance over someone's skin color or the things that they're affiliated with or were affiliated with. So I feel like both things can be right at the same time.
Yeah, I think you brought up something that I think as a music educator, sometimes I don't even think about, right? Like I think about the perception of how that looks from a music educator standpoint.
Sure.
But I don't think about what that looks like from the random nursing major standpoint or the engineering major, right? Like they don't care because it's not going to ultimately affect them at the end of the day.
Sure.
You know, but somebody who's trying to go and get a music educator degree and then teach somewhere and probably want to be somewhere that, you know, is probably in a affluent neighborhood or something like that, or, you know, they want to make sure that they have good things on their records and all that kind of stuff. And I always think about the fact that when you get into those interviews, kind of what Quan was pointing out, that they do go and look at those things. They do pay attention to those things. And so that's where my brain always kind of goes back to. Even in the sense of you may have a kid who has been part of something like that where it has been recorded, but then that same kid may go march cadets, right? So like then it becomes, you know, kind of what Quan was saying too, that affiliation thing, right? Because you're affiliated with the cadets, but you're also affiliated with this group here. And now it's just like they're caught up in this catch-22 of, all right, so do we hire this kid? I know they march cadets, but I see this video here, and you know, so
is that kid black or are they not black?
You said what?
Is the kid, is that same kid
we
black?
We talking about a chocolate kid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Quan, you about to say something?
Yeah, I'm and like I'm saying, it's like I'm not saying don't be true to yourself, because I'm gonna be Quan, you know, regardless. But those things happen, so it's kind of like if you're gonna do it, stand on your heel. You know what I'm saying? And I do agree with what you're saying, Maya. If people point those things out, you know, then maybe that's not the company that you want to keep. Because for that particular interview that I interviewed, and when that person said that, everybody was in there that was that looked like us on the backhand side. They literally was like, we need to hire him right now. But everybody else that was on the palm side was like, well, you know, I don't know this. And I had more credentials than many of them sitting in that room. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be what it's going to be. And at the end of the day, God is going to allow you to land where you're supposed to be. I was supposed to be at Worthy, and we doing our thing here. But, I mean, it is what it is. You know?
I'm thoroughly and utterly embarrassed because why would you say that?
Okay.
And it don't help that I got this color shirt on too.
It don't at all. And you on the white background.
All that. Oh no.
Oh, I only do it because I love you. That's why. All right, man. Let's go to the next topic. Welcome everybody to Talk That Talk. We have the unfiltered, unscripted, uncomfortable conversations about band, HBCU band culture, music education, and more. Man, y'all go ahead and smash that like that, and man, let's go ahead and help that YouTube algorithm. Also, please make sure you subscribe to the Passion Is Network and turn on your notifications. This episode will be up on all your podcasts and networks. Just type in Talk That Talk, except for Apple Podcasts, where all you got to type in is real Talk That Talk. All right, how far can we push the line? Or is there even a line?
What type of line is it? Whose line? Whose line is it anyway? Because I don't know.
That's the question.
Well, I love that show.
Me too.
I love that show.
Really? I didn't even
like that show.
Hell yeah.
Well, yeah, it was yeah, you're right. Never mind. But anyway, how far it was a good show. How far can we push the line, and is there even a line? Maya, you go ahead since you started it anyway.
I don't know what this means. How far can we push the line? The ignorant line? We push it way, way, way far, obviously. And I think that, mind you, I don't know what we're talking about, so I'm just gonna go with what I think, right? So, are we talking about the ignorant line?
Yeah, we talking about the ignorant, the disrespect line.
Oh, okay. Honestly, I think like with this TxSu Southern thing, right? Whether conscious or subconscious, it's gonna be pushed way far because now it's like, okay, we got to beat this, right? Because we ain't never in all our years seen something quite like this. So now, naturally, it's going to be who's going to be the next person to take it a little bit further, because now this is acceptable because it's been done. And it's been got the likes and views. I'm looking at Justin's. I mean, this may be low views compared to Mr. All Hell Justin, but 26,000 views from 3 days ago. I mean, that's substantial. You know what I'm saying? And it's only going to go up from there as word continues to get pushed out. So it's just more so now we're in a different era of ignorant, right? Because this has, dare I say it, not changed the game. Not that I agree. Okay. Not that I disagree. I'm just simply saying for lack of better words, this has put us in a new era of competition and how to beat out your competition or do something exciting that's unexpected. So we push the line by making things like this acceptable. And is there a line? Yes, because the line stops. I don't know. The line is like a glass ceiling, right? So until you get to this point and have to raise the bar, there's a line. That's just to add to the end of it, but that's how I see it.
Okay. Quan, how far can we push the line? And is there even a line?
I think now that's pending the band director that you're speaking about. I look at it from that point of view, because when I guess Talladega was blowing on people while they were, Drum Major was literally doing their entrance. In my opinion, that's disrespectful, right? Because you didn't even have the common courtesy to be like, all right, bro, we're gonna battle this out in the stands. Like you're literally taking time from people on their field show. Or like the example I gave earlier when ASU was like, yeah, bro, y'all been on the field too long. We're gonna march through y'all. That could have been a dangerous situation. You know what I'm saying? Because not being ugly, we possibly would have fought. Like you marched through us. I don't know, bro. Like, can I be honest? I think I agree with everything Maya said. The disrespect line has been pushed back further from healthy rivalry or healthy competition to now we're gonna get ignorant. Now we're gonna get disrespectful. And honestly, we're dealing with kids, bro, who may not know that line either. And that the band director may set it and be like, all right, that's the line. And some of these kids was like, say, bro, we're going to jump the hell over this line. Now what? So should there be a line? There should be. There should be a line where it's just like, even though this game is going on, I still have mutual respect for my other colleague across the field. But where will it go? We don't know, bro. But this definitely has pushed the line back further. Don't be surprised if somebody tries to do what's worse than this, but I just pray that it doesn't end up with blows.
Yeah, I as you were talking, I was thinking about that because, and I'm not saying that this doesn't happen or it won't happen or whatever, and I'm not even going to try to speculate on the relationship between Kedrick and Brian. But just something like that, and watching that whole situation unfold, and like you said, Quan, there are students who are watching this, right? So if there is no visual camaraderie between the two, there is also energy that's built up from both sides from the student perspective. So that does beg the question of how far can that go? Because there's going to be a student in both of those programs who might end up being someone's band director who finds what happened in that day acceptable and say, well, we did this back when we marched, so now let's see if we can do this and move it, further and further on. And I just find it, I find it interesting when we start looking at those situations, and this kind of goes back to the MEAC thing. One of the things that I always did see is all the directors always getting together at some point. Whether it was at a battle or something like that. If we did a battle at the beginning or the end of the battle, they would always shake hands and take pictures and kiss babies and all that kind of stuff. even if in situations, where it did where it did get a little rough. So I find it interesting that, if they don't visually show some peace amongst one another, um those kids, can probably take that as, fighting words. Let's see how far we can possibly take this. So
I mean, but to add what you're saying, those kids don't know. Now we saw band directors getting along. Like I never forget one of the most kind-hearted things that I've ever saw was after Prof Edwards passed away, Texas Southern literally made a video about Prof Edwards and just was saying my condolences. Even though we have this rivalry, he was always a good guy. Him and excuse me, Prof Lee like shaking hands, laughing, pictures that we never even saw. That was candid. They had a real friendship. You know what I'm saying? Now being honest, I don't think there's no beef between Brian and Kedrick because I've seen him give him a shout out on his birthday and was like, you're doing a great job there, so forth and so on. I think it's just literally two jukes that's like, rivalry amongst each other. Plus they worked on the same staff. So, so it's a different type of camaraderie of what we see. So I don't want to speculate anything, but I must say though, we have to be careful what we're teaching because man, that can end up bad. Just being honest, because I teach my kids respect, but one of the most disrespectful things you could do is break your rank. Like real talk, like we almost got into it with cops because they tried to do it because they thought they were cops. And our kids was like, say fam, you can't walk through here. I mean, so what you think will happen at the collegiate level? If you see your father figure or your mother figure act like that with what I'm saying, with another adult, so you the op now. And that's all I'm saying. Like we just have to be careful of what we're feeding our kids. Bottom line. I pray that, it doesn't go that far. But again, because this new bar or new standard was set, so to speak, where do you go from here? But worse.
and then on the social media level, right? Like there's that aspect of it too. Like Maya said, you getting a lot of clicks and views. So I am, just for example, I am Poonduck University band program in the middle of Poonduck, Kansas, and I want to, showcase my band. I want my band to get some views and likes, and I want my kids to. So they did that. So let me try to see what I can do. I think that's another issue, right? Because you got to remember that even us, in this social media, YouTube era, blah blah blah, we're all fighting for likes and subscriptions and all of these things, and we're fighting to try to build our own little popularity. And in order to do that, we have to be able to excite the masses. How do we do that? We do that by pushing the line. And so that's the line. And I find it interesting because when I think about Brian, he was the same one who gathered likes from doing push-ups and the Wheaties box. And now it's this, you know what I'm saying? And I don't and I'm not saying that he's just like, I guess he may be the king of likes. I don't know. But he's done a great job of being able to create this momentum. My question is, for somebody out there who wants that same momentum, what are they willing to do to get there? So that's one of the things that I was thinking about. So hey. Dang it. Were you about to say something? My bad. Okay. All right, let's move on. Quan went to go take a poop. So all right, let's move on to the last topic. Oh, let's move on to the last topic. Welcome everybody to Talk That Talk. We have the unfiltered, unscripted, uncomfortable conversations about band, HBCU, band culture, music education, and more. I mean, y'all go and smash that like daddy. And subscribe to the Passionist Network, man. This episode will be up on all your podcast networks. Just type in Talk That Talk. Or on Apple Podcasts where you can type in Real Talk That Talk. This is the last topic, and then I'm going to put the link in the chat. I'm also going to pin it so that you can come in and talk that talk with us. All right. Are the old ways of band gone? Now, let me ask, and I'm asking this question. And when I thought about this question, I kind of felt like this, right? So, like, you ever felt like the world was like going in a completely opposite direction than the way that you were raised? But then, like, you know that if you say something about it, then you'd be like verbally and socially castrated because you are the different person, right? So you just don't say anything at all. I just think there's like a lot of people who may feel that what was displayed in that whole situation was just like not okay, but they don't say anything or feel like they can't say anything because then they would be looked at as, you know, you ain't with the culture, dog. You know what I'm saying? Um, but I think that there's this old way of band that people still do believe in and still do exist. So that's why I thought about this question: are the old ways of band gone? Uh, Go ahead, Quan.
For us, yeah. I think I think I was on the tail end of the older directors of that old administration or regime. Uh, Julian, you was in the thick of it at the last, and you were the last portion of the golden era, in my opinion, of band, from the '80s to late '90s and early 2000s. And I think now, being honest, for even our perspective of what's musical is different. So yeah, I mean, there is some truth to what we say about being loud and ignorant. That's gonna get you the likes. Because I've seen some people be loud and bad, but people be putting fire signs, fire emojis under the comments, and I'd be like, y'all, come on. That wasn't good. But if you say something, oh, you hating. And I think that's the only difference now. You can't have an opinion. I think with social media is like either if your opinion differs from somebody else, then you're a op. Nah, just if I don't like Domino's pizza, I don't like Domino's pizza, bro. Like
Hey,
it's okay.
I'm a little old. What is an op?
Opposition, bro.
Got you. Thank you.
It's cool. You teach high schools, bro. But anyway, so the whole point is like you can't have a different opinion, and if not, they look at you as an enemy, and especially through social media and with band. I think that's just where we are. Could you imagine back in the day if somebody said that FAMU sucked? Like I'm talking about pre-Robert Champion. Like, could you imagine? Like, or if they was like, man, that's soft and that's whack. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I just we're getting older and things are evolving and changing. Um, and I think at the end of the day, just the bottom line, people won't agree with our philosophies. So there's going to be certain people that uphold that standard of what we call tradition. And there's some that's going to be like, we're not going to do it. Period.
I'll come back to you what I was thinking about. Maya, are the old ways of band gone?
um, that's very subjective, of course. I guess it depends on what do you consider old band, right? Because me being how many ever years out that I am, I could say that, when I was there, that's still a definition of old. But I mean, needless to say, yes, all in all, because I think it just more so goes to what you're talking about. We can't have a a conversation anymore, right? So the sense of rivalry or healthy competition is gone in the sense of the loudest voice wins. Not necessarily, I'm not talking about which band is louder in the comments or who has the loudest notion of opinion and everyone is swaying that way. That's what wins, right? So the old ways of what's being accepted, the old ways of being able to have a conversation or what is valued in terms of band is gone, because at the end of the day, it all just depends on who has the most likes and the most comments or who's being the loudest in the comments. And even if somebody tries to defy what the masses are saying in the comments, is shut your ass up. You know what I'm saying? So where are we supposed to go from there? How are we supposed to grow from there? Because at the end of the day, it's just, I don't know. I don't. That's a hard one, because yeah, the old ways are gone, but it's not like I have a solution at this point in time, because it's gonna take a whole lot of to get us out of this. And what even is getting us out of this? What does that look like?
So, you said something, Quan, that I said I was going to revisit. So you were saying something about, you know, if you're gonna stick with the old ways, it's just what, you know, that's who you are, that's what you're gonna do, basically, right?
No. What I'm saying is, I don't have an issue with you evolving, but you still have to keep your standards. Like, I'm gonna give you this example, like of Norfolk. There's certain aspects of Norfolk that, because you are a alumnus of the Legion, you know that certain things is tweaked, but they have not compromised who they are for anyone. So it's kind of like they still rocking with their standards, even though certain things, you know, as you march was like, man, it's different. They're still the Legion. You feel what I'm saying? And I think that's the difference. I think now people are like and me and Maya both agree, you can't have an opinion of just being different. And so you're gonna have some people that are gonna compromise their standards for the likes, for the, you know, for the views and clicks. My thing is, you're gonna have some people that are just gonna be like, man, blow that hoe. And then some people gonna like Rick and, you know, will say Crawl's voice and arrangement and so forth and so on. But if you're true to yourself as a musician and as an educator and director, be true to yourself, and all else will prevail.
So my question with that is, will you get lost in the sauce being true to yourself that much?
Lost in whose sauce?
Yeah.
So my
You get lost in your own sauce. But I mean, it's really much that, like, people are scared to get lost in the sauce of things because they're so scared to stand on their own 2 feet and be like, nah, like this is what I feel like, and I got something to say. But you're going to explain my bad.
No. Go ahead.
Well, all I was gonna say is, no, I mean, you were taking it in a completely different direction, but
Oh, my bad.
no, I like the direction you were taking it in, but it wasn't the direction that I was going for. But what I'm saying is, basically, right now, like I said earlier, we live in a YouTube generation. We live in a YouTube era. We live in the era of clicks and likes, right? Like, I'll say it like this: I don't know what the Legion now, the young kids in the Legion now, worry about. Like, I'm gonna assume that they don't worry about clicks and likes, you know what I'm saying, and they just worry about being the Legion, which, you know, if that's what they do, that's what they do. But I think in total and in mass, I think a lot of these band kids are looking at the videos of themselves as they're out, and they're looking at the comments and they're looking at the likes. And if people stay true to themselves and programs stay true to themselves, will they eventually get lost? They will become that unknown program, or they'll become that program that nobody cares about, or they'll become that program that nobody talks about in a positive manner, right? And it's always just negative because they're not going along with what is considered the status quo. That's what I meant by that.
But you have to, well, if that's the case, to a degree, we could say that about Prairie View. Being honest, Prairie View is different. and they're themselves. And I feel like that's cool. Me as an alumnus of Prairie View, I feel like that's good enough. I don't think Prairie View's trying to be anybody else but them. And I think you have to, whatever you stand for, but like you got to be willing to die on that thing. And that's cool and that's good enough. And my thing is, I'd rather die with integrity than live with the masses. And you gotta, and it's like, but if you have that type of director that's willing to stand on it, then that's good enough. Like you're saying, if those kids, if they just want to, they're willing to be the Legion, then that's good enough, because real talk, being the Legion and supporting and upholding those precepts has been good enough thus far since the 70s. That's my whole philosophy. And since we've seen under Dr. Zachary's administration, happy birthday, by the way, Doc, that's been sufficient enough. In regards to the standard of Southern University, Jackson State, that's been good enough for them. They ain't trying to be nobody else. Southern ain't trying to be nobody else but Southern. FAMU is now that, you know, I feel like they're on the up and up trajectory post Robert Champion. They're them. They have not compromised their sound. They're them. And I think that's good enough. And that's why I just say, man, bottom line, if you willing to stand on that, well, die on it too. Because somebody gonna end up liking it. And those are the people that may be less than the, you know, the normal, you know, I guess clicks and like people, all the band heads or ignorant stuff. But people, they're gonna have a group or a consumer that's gonna appreciate what you give it.
And I can agree with you on a lot of those things. You know, and I know we kind of talked about it earlier, but one of the things that we talked about earlier, that I find interesting, and I'm just kind of revisiting what you said, Quan. I don't remember back in the day people being like, Fam was trash. I just don't remember that. Even when Fam went against Southern, like that was a big game. You know what I'm saying? It was like, hey man, we got to go to this game, you know. But now it's like, Fam goes against Southern. Nah, that's gonna be light work for Southern. So blah blah blah. You know, like Fam ain't trying to, you know, get up there with Southern. So it's really weird how things have changed. But like you said, Fam is staying true to who Fam is. The thing that, like I said, and this kind of just where this question derives from, and I'm not giving an opinion either way. I'm just saying the thing that makes me think about this is the fact that Fam is staying true to themselves, and I'm not gonna say only, but in mass, the people who look back to the old ways of band are the ones who still respect Fam for being Fam. And I feel that's really, to me, odd in some type of ways. And I feel like being that person or those people who feel that way, we can't always be vocal about it, because like Quan said, it's like, and like Maya said, it's like shut up. Like what you're saying doesn't even matter, because they ain't cranking, so they ain't blowing that hole, so it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's kind of odd for me. So I don't know. Any final thoughts on that, Maya?
No, I don't think so.
I'm trying to be all nice and cute now. You had all that ignorant stuff to say.
Well, we was talking about ignorant stuff.
So hood.
I am who I am. I like what I like.
What you got to say, Quan?
Nah, I agree. I agree with what you're saying. But my thing is, I think the second question that we had was great. What's the difference between ignorant and disrespectful? I think at the end of the day, bro, no band, you're not going to recruit anybody that doesn't have pride, discipline, and honor. I don't think. For real? Please elaborate.
You said who? You saying like a part of being in band is that you have pride, all these things?
I said no band is going to basically overall grow and be great without honor, pride, and discipline.
Oh, okay, fair. I'm sorry, I misheard you.
No,
Maybe I just wanted to get into some ignorant shit. That's probably what it was.
But that's what I'm saying. Is like I feel like
Where's Justin so we can get to some more ignorant shit?
we might well let you
No, he ain't showed up yet. But go ahead,
I thought you were saying that there aren't any. You said pride,
honor, pride, and discipline.
honor, pride, and discipline. I thought you were saying that basically there's nobody in a particular band that does not house those characteristics.
Oh no, I was saying like if you have those, then you're going to be a healthy band.
Gotcha.
Like I feel like if you have those tangible ingredients, you're going to be a great band.
Fair.
And I think you're not going to be a pushover. Like you could be true to yourself. Like we know for a fact, it's certain bands that will never do what TxSu did. Not agree or disagree. There's some bands that just be like, we just not going to do that, right? However, that does not take or diminish that band for who they are. Just not. You know what I'm saying? Like we know it's gonna be some bands that gonna play when they're marching in. Cool. There's gonna be some. I mean, and even like real talk, I look at the box when like we would play when people were marching too, like you know to a rock sequence and you know right in front of them or whatever the case may be. But there's just some bands that be like, hey, be true to us. That's not who we are. We're gonna put it in the stands, we're gonna put it in the field and get the dub like that. We don't have to get outside of our character to prove ourselves. And I think that's just the difference.
And speaking of Justin, because I know I said where is he? Justin be traveling, man. Because I swear I can't remember what game I was watching. He was somewhere on Saturday. Matter of fact, he was at the joint. He was at the TxSu Southern joint.
And then Langston,
you know, he turned around and popped up at the Langston and what you call it. I was like, God dang, did he just walk?
Bluff, yeah.
Nah, he be moving, man. I was like, yo, that man be traveling. So yeah, but oh yeah, I think he down there. Okay, yeah. So
one was in Dallas and one was in what, Austin?
The TxSu Southern joint was in Arlington, if I'm not mistaken.
And where was the UAPB thing?
UAPB and was it Langston?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. But yeah, he down there. So get yourself ready, man. We about to talk some ignorant stuff for a second. Cause he ready. He got notes.
Just to get a little bit too ignorant.
It's levels to that.
So all right, well, here we go. Let's all pray on it for a second. Here we go.
What's up? Man, look, I ain't even about to be too ignorant here tonight. I'm like, this shit crazy. I said we can back in my head. But yeah, man. So look, great conversation, great everything. Quan, you was on that boo-boo a lot. Oh, you was. This weekend was lit. I'm talking about Friday. I went to Tennessee State and Alabama A&M. They had a battle in Huntsville. Then I flew to Dallas, and then I went to OKC the next day. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But all battles was great. But of course, this halftime at Texas Southern, that's what everybody talked about. I done got like 1,000 phone calls, man. I'm starting to see it from different ways, and I'm starting to like take the approach of like I get where everybody's saying it was disrespectful, like I was saying, like you took your halftime show and dedicated to cranking on somebody. But I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I think that's what the band were at. And I think there's so much I want to say. I think that's what the band where I needed, but I do see what everybody's talking about. If you was in that atmosphere, if you was in that arena, you didn't even want to watch the game no more because it was already a blowout. You didn't want to watch the fifth quarter. That was enough, but you was waiting for the fifth quarter to get popping. That was lit. And I just think sometimes it's like looking back at it, I do get what everybody's saying, but like you was talking about earlier, Luke, the thought of wanting to play on somebody, on top of somebody, is ignorant, right? And why I asked the question. Quan was talking all that stuff when PV did the miles. That wasn't nothing nice about prestige about PV. That was ignorant, and we loved it. You know what I'm saying? It was, yeah, Miles ain't deserve that. Exactly. When you think about pranking on top of somebody, that is a thought of ignorant. Every band did it. Southern do it 1,000,000 times. When you blow somebody marching in the stadium, you throwing off their cadence, counting them marching in. It's ignorant. And I think I wrote down earlier on my phone. So the first question you asked, it was something about ignorance and rivalry. I think a rivalry can be ignorant. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're adapting to the times of what band is becoming. But I do understand when y'all talk about keeping it prestigious and keeping the rules and the pageantry. I didn't find, even though I can see how they said it was disrespectful, at the same time, Brian thought that out. It was a master plan. You know what I'm saying? He thought it out well. That was his field show. And Quan, you said that field show was you must have missed the beginning, that back step they did to spin around that step. That thing was gangster. You know what I'm saying? So it's so much of the nutshell. I think it's just a matter of who the people was that we dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Brian Simmons and Mr. Taylor at Southern University. It's almost like Southern versus Southern. So that's why it has the extra flavor on top of it. But I get it. I just think it was lit. And every kid in there that's seen it from that angle, you can see when they cranked on Southern, and you also seen when Southern came in loud and yammed on their show, because technically they still was in their field show and Southern yammed on top of their field show. So I seen a poll earlier today, who was in the right, who was in the wrong. You know what I'm saying? As the question is, technically that was Texas Southern's field show, and technically Southern played on top of their field show, right? And they cut it off and they brought it back and they kept cranking. That was a lot of watts. But it never been done before, and I give kudos to Brian because he's the king of creating moments, man. Like how you said doing the push-ups against Texas Southern, the Wheaties, the weekend, the Crankfest, and now this, like I don't know, man. It depends on how you look at it. We gotta. You can't say it wasn't entertaining. You know what I'm saying? You can't say it wasn't entertaining on both sides. You know. So that's what I gotta say about it.
No question, Justin, for you, bro. So my question is, outside of those two facets, right? What was episodic about their pageantry?
The backstory. But come on, man. Like my thing is, you really think that Brian Simmons wasn't gonna come with something up his sleeve? Like, cause somebody last year Southern yammed on them. Power alone, that shit went viral, man. The band going crazy with Taylor throwing his head in the air, beating his chest, all that. You know what I'm saying? This year Texas Southern do something. So what's the difference? You know what I'm saying? Now I get it when they say it's disrespectful on the field show. I get it, and I can't trade the line of saying it's like I'm fighting with saying was it that disrespectful, or like dang did they get you in that situation, or like I don't know. All in all, I don't find nothing wrong with what both parties did. And I feel like that's what the people came for. You know what I'm saying? They came to see something memorable. Now I can tell on the up and up. That you say is a battle between Texas Southern and Southern in 3 weeks. And you watch how much money both of them programs can make. If you want the positive side of it, right? That will be the sellout of the year. You know what I'm saying? That's a crank fest in itself. You know what I'm saying? I don't like looking at the negative, because they be saying, what if a fight would have broke out? Man, if Brian knew them, they was going up in the stands. They had to run in and get they strap on to be able to play back, because they just came off the field. There was no fight gonna be involved. I feel like when they say stuff like that, they don't give these two bands and band directors credit for being able to have control of their union. I'm pretty sure Texas Southern practiced that. They practiced. It was strategic. I ain't gonna lie. On the comments, one of the band directors told me what was gonna happen. Now I didn't know what the hell was gonna happen. I just knew where I needed to be at the right time. I was shocked. I was like, God damn, what's all I knew was keep the camera rolling. You know what I'm saying? It's going down. So it was strategic. You know what I'm saying? So people, the word ignorant, we use it as ignorant, but people try to like down character the bands and the band director when they be saying it. But I'm talking about no, it was like lit ignorant. You know what I'm saying? What we came for, when PV play on top of Miles, when other bands play on top of other bands, this was just a moment, and it's something that you probably thought about it, but you never thought it was gonna happen. So I don't know. That's just what I don't like about it. But for the culture and for us, that shit was lit. And look at the comments. Look, I'm talking about. I couldn't even get home. I was still in Dallas. Go ahead. You know what I'm saying? I was still in Dallas though. But like, it's really, that was some lit shit. And I ain't saying to your question, Luke, because I wrote them all down, but there's so many. You was like, how far can we push the line? I think that was pushing the line because it was with these two programs. I just think that it just was a spark. You know what I'm saying? A spark into what band can be and what the youth are looking for. You know what I'm saying? How many kids you think will go to TxSu tonight? How many kids listen to how Southern came? Did y'all hear tomorrow? I know y'all heard tomorrow. How many kids will go to Southern night? You know what I'm saying? So I just look at the positive. I do understand the professional side of it. Somebody could be looking, but sometimes I be feeling like we ain't trying to please them people. We trying to please us. You know what I'm saying? This right here could generate our own. I call it a civil war. And people, not all the reactors on YouTube saying a civil war. This could be a civil war battle bands. Now, and this create jobs. That's kind of part. We get real political on it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I just don't like how people try to shine a negative light on something that was lit. That shit was lit. You know what I'm saying? That was lit. I know I ain't trying to please nobody. I'm telling you what it was. It was lit on both parties. The fifth quarter was long as hell. And it was lit too. So that's my time on that.
So, I just want to say this.
I'm pretty sure everybody got something to say. So, Quan, then Maya, then I'll go.
So let me just say this. So I don't look at it from all the things from a negative perspective, like real talk. But I say this: I don't think no two other bands could have gotten away with that. They had, like, what I'm saying is they had to have known each other for that to happen, because I know how other band directors get down. So it could have got.
I don't think old band, Terrell Howard, his bands, he used the word stamp. Southern got stamp. Old New Orleans band term. I don't think nobody could have stamped Southern like that besides somebody from Southern. I feel that way. Now, when I said that, I said tread lightly. Now, think about all the band directors that we have from Southern. When you think about that, 9 times out of 10, either they band pilot and pull some ignorant stuff before. Alcorn living like that. I can't wait to take some Alcorn game. Who else from Southern? You know what I'm saying? They did some ignorant stuff before. Hey, somebody text me what you said that. Genesis alone is ignorant. I just want you to know that, Quan. That's an ignorant of this day and age. Genesis was made, who always creating that fanfare. They thought, I'm gonna take every high note and every chord progression and make it ignorant. So when I play it, yes, it gets the crowd attention. So yeah, so y'all say PB have ignorant moments, and I love them. I don't think they be ignorant enough sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So shit, when I came to PV and they played Push It in the Barrel, I was like, it's the same fucking PV that I'll be hearing. Like, where this be at when I be in the fifth quarters? I love that side of PV. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they get enough credit. I think, like, it's like sometimes I'm like, damn, they on a leash or something like that. Like, I know they got it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's just my take on it. Keep going.
All right, Maya.
Now I'm with you when you're right, my friend.
I'm talking about that.
Okay, if we talking about, I'll talk about PV and I'll talk about Southern TxSu, right? So of course, like, if it was gonna happen, those were the right two to do it. I feel you. Now, in terms of moving forward, right? So next year, like you said, if they just said shit, based off of what happened, we need to have a battle by the end of the season, that her gonna sell out. Or even this game in and of itself, especially if they don't see each other again this season, it's for sure going to be a hell of a lot more people at this game next year just because of this. So I feel you on that. And in terms of, like I kind of mentioned, selling dreams, you know, when PV did the whole Genesis situation, because that's not going to happen every single time, but there are facets of that, right? So, you know, that's no pros and cons to that, but I feel you, right? Just in the nature of having fun, entertainment, what have you. I'm okay with that. You know, like, I feel you. Now, in terms of the PV thing, I feel you, because I said when we had the show about the national battle events, I was like, oh shit, this how we coming. When it was time for us to get up and play, I still don't know what the hell we was playing. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, this is the time to get ignorant. You know what I'm saying? Like, this the prequel to the season. So like, we need to have this whole jumping, like, you know, like, bring your loudest shit and let's just woo and roo and loo and do on all. I'm feeling that. But don't let the ignorant fool you. I still, you know, but I like that shit too.
Yeah, I'm talking about it. Listen, this weekend, let's say for instance, a pandemic breakout tomorrow. Hope don't ever happen. I promise you, what was known for this year was them two, the fifth quarter. That whole game was like, I'm thinking about how could a band top that? You know what I'm saying? It's like I know people out there thinking if you're not thinking as a band director, how could you be more entertaining than that? You're tripping, or either you need to have some bomb field shows. You know what I'm saying? But I don't care what band you was in. If you're black, you probably even one of them. It was unprofessional, but I guess a goosebump popped up like, damn, that was some gangster. It's never been done before, man. We gotta stop always trying to. I ain't saying be by the book because I guess that what band is. It's creativity. You know what I'm saying? That was different. Then keep it. After they got out of concert formation, they got back in lines and marched straight down the field. It was still their field show. That was just I won't say a 1 minute away from that show, about a minute and a half. So I don't know, bro. It's just
I'm gonna ask two questions, and then you answer them, and then we got Mike down there, so we want to bring him in. But so my two questions were this: one, you were right there in the thick of it when all of it happened. So my first question is, what was the energy in that moment, in that specific moment? That's the first question. And then the second question, you're like the 100th person I've seen say this, and I want you to kind of elaborate on this. When you all say the band world needed that, how and why specifically did the band world need that? So those are the two questions.
Yeah. All right, boom. One, it was electric. It was electric because one, even they told me what to be and what was gonna happen. I still didn't expect that. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like I know you lying. Even my raw reaction in the video when I'm talking, I'm cursing in the clips. I know you got parents watching, but I ain't see one bad comment yet. Because it was just lit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, wow, this is off the chain. And Cedric Tide, the assistant director. You see that smirk he had on his face when he's on that stand? It was almost like, fuck the rest of the game. Let's get it on right now. Get back in the stands and let's do this right here for the culture. You know what I'm saying? It was electric. I never seen nothing like it like that. Like, we heard about moments. Jackson playing on top of Southern Power situation back then. You know what I'm saying? All kind of different things. This was one of those moments. So that's what I mean. It was electric and a moment. You had to be there. You know what I'm saying? And shit, if you got excited off the clips, what do you think we was like in a stadium? Look at the crowd. You know what I'm saying? They going stupid. When I say the band where I needed this, and we all saying the band where I needed this, I feel like, we break it up to SWAC, MEAC, how you was talking about earlier. We call the MEAC soft. Side note, Luke, y'all probably did have some niggas in the band. I'm pretty sure you was a nigga. And I know how niggerish some parts of Virginia is. They got some niggas in Virginia, you know what I'm saying? And you a nigga from Texas. But it don't bleed out through the band. That's what I'm saying. You said y'all had directors that kept y'all contained. So the band ain't niggerized. It ain't bleeding through the band. Y'all still being y'all same MEAC style self. They got niggas in every band. You know what I'm saying? Almost. They just be in control. But side note, I'm just saying they needed a spark like this to talk about, because sometimes everybody looks forward to boombox every year, right? Why you look forward to boombox? Because you know it's gonna be that work. You know you're gonna get two of the juggernauts playing from ballads to rap tunes to everything. You know what I'm saying? Incat versus Norfolk. Why you look forward to that game, huh? It's something about it that you look. Shit, I look forward to it. You know
I don't look forward to it no more because NCAT ain't the same NCAT.
But at one point, why you look forward to it?
Because NCAT was more. See, now this is probably why I'm agree with you. Because old NCAT was more SWAC than they were what y'all consider MEAC. Old NCAT was more SWAC than what y'all can. So at that time, that rivalry was a lot more aggressive. I don't know. It's just
all it's gonna take for NCAT to make a little promo video about how they gonna yam on Norfolk. They needed that.
You don't want to do that because you see how that went wrong for Hampton.
Now I'm getting hyped. Let NCAT part of video like Hampton did. Let's drum me to talk what it was. The green and mold. NCAT said it hit a little different. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. You get hype, right? You can't think about it. Yeah, I might need to send a text message now. Y'all put a video. I'm be in the building for that game when that happened. I will be there. But it's just how you getting excited right now. We need spurts of excitement to keep this thing going because the fifth quarter, bro. Okay, we kind of know what the outcome come. An outcome gonna be a lot of times when it comes to Southern. We didn't expect nothing. We didn't expect this because it's Brian Simmons. So we know something gonna happen. But he gave it to you before you wait on the fifth quarter. He gave you something at halftime to be excited about. So when we say the band where I needed that, it's just saying it's just a little life, a little clear. It needed a little more spark in it to keep it juicy to get these high schoolers and get these people in a pocket to won't be interested in band because band be dying. And only a certain few programs people be interested in seeing for real. Well, I'm just saying in the band here, Mark, because everybody got their favorite band, you gonna watch someone lose a draw. You know what I'm saying? But we just saying you just need a little spark to keep things juicy and flowing.
That's fair.
I'm gonna jump in real quick. I feel you. Y'all boys be cool. I gotta hit it. I won't see y'all next week. I'll actually still be on vacation. Bing. Sorry, I just thought about that. My bad. We can talk about that offline. But
Yeah, we can talk about that offline.
Bye, friends. Love you so much. See y'all next time.
Bye.
Hey, girl. All right. Well, yeah. All right. Hey, look, I'm not upset with you. I don't disagree with you on some things, because what I will say is that 3 drum major situation that happened at Hampton, from the reports that I have received, that game was massively packed. I've heard from quite a few people that it took like an hour just for people to get into the stadium. Now I don't know if that was a result of that or not, but what I will say is in my years at being in Norfolk, I don't ever remember having heard something like that. From what I was told, they ran out of food at the stadium. Yeah, so those are the things that I heard. So I mean, you may be right. I mean, the band world may need those little jolts. So hey, like I said, I'm an equal opportunity listener before I place my opinion on anything. But go ahead.
As a fan of the YouTube choir, y'all ever went to a battle of bands before? And we know a lot of times band directors really be cool with each other. They shake each other hands afterwards. Y'all never heard of band directors like creating fake beefs just to get the thing going?
So I can answer that really quick. So when we used to do gym battles, all of the gym battles were planned out from top to bottom. What was going to happen, how it was going to happen, blah blah blah. As I started talking to a lot of different people, what I start realizing too, or finding out too, was that I think the Bayou was the same way. It was planned out on how things were going to go, so on and so forth. Now, there have been some times where people said some things that probably was off script, but in totality, I think that everything was planned out and done in a specific and strategic way. So I have heard of it because I've kind of been a part of it. So
yeah, I think I feel like that route can be taken. I ain't saying that's what happened because I'm pretty sure that didn't happen. But that route can be taken when you talk about 2 bands and a rivalry. You know what I'm saying? It all kind of stuff can happen. So I don't know. That's next topic.
All right. Well, as always, brother, we always appreciate you. And you always in the thick of it, so we can always get the inside scoop. Are you going to the Cotton Bowl?
Yeah, I'm going. Yeah.
All right. Well, we should see you there. Should, quote unquote. So
Come to the Cotton Bowl. This is my first time going, so yeah, I'm gonna go to it.
All right. Well, hopefully we can have a good time. If we all there, I gotta ask Quan, is he gonna make it? He might not though. He might be phony. Oh, there you go.
Again, you going, Quan?
See, told you he's gonna be phony.
Nah, when is Cotton Bowl? October what?
1st.
Nah, we got a football game.
Y'all gonna lose anyway. Come on, man.
Bro. Bro, we got a football game. Nah, we got 3 performances. We got the Creole Festival, a second performance, and a game all the same day.
Oh, okay.
Good luck.
Yeah.
All right. Well, like I said, appreciate you, brother. We always appreciate everything you got for us, man. We'll check you out next time.
Man,
All right, bro. All right, let's bring in Brother Scarfinger. Now, first thing he gonna get on here doing is talking a bunch of crap. So let's get ready for it.
All right, so I know it's gonna be a minute, so let me get my stuff ready to go.
Yeah,
So,
go ahead.
Look, I'm not even trying to be here that long. First of all,
Okay.
I wanted to say I 100% agree with everything Justin said. Like this weekend did so much just from the okay, I always speak from the band head's perspective and not necessarily the musician and respectability and all that other stuff. Forget all that. This was fun. And I think that this is what we needed. We needed fun in this because this stuff just started to get it started to get routine, especially against Southern. It started to get very routine. And like Texas Southern did, whether or not you think they won or not, what Texas Southern did was prove that Southern is not invincible. They hit them, and they hit them hard in the mouth. No matter whether you think that it was ignorant or anything like that, they hit them. You can tell by the looks on those directors' faces after that happened and their reaction to it. They hit them hard. And I don't think, we didn't, none of us on the outside expected that. But I like the fact that they proved that Southern is not invincible. Whether or not you think they won the whole thing or not, I personally think that it was a little bit closer to a tie because they both got tired towards the end. But I just and then like looking at the clips, I almost went to the Norfolk State game, and I'm so glad I didn't because I'm so used to watching this stuff on YouTube and seeing all of these SWAC bands and stuff like that I was incredibly bored by Norfolk Hampton, incredibly bored, and I'm like, yo. I am so glad that I didn't actually take the 2.5 hour drive to go to Norfolk for this. I was every time Norfolk played, I was just like, yo, where's the aggression? Like, where's the things that I'm used to watching? And they just didn't have it. Maybe they were just bored because it was Hampton. Hampton sounded awful. Like, absolutely awful. They talked all of that mess. They lost so many people, even after all of that recruiting going all over the place. And they don't have people. It's like, where are your people, bro? Like, you talked all this mess, but where are your people, bro? And Hampton was less than. They weren't even good enough for Hampton, and that's bad. Like, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, they weren't even good enough for Hampton. And it was just like I realized that like Norfolk's songs were just incredibly short. Like, you know what I mean? It was just like they played a little bit and it was just done. It was just like, okay, where's the rest of the song, dog? Like, so we just not gonna care about the rest of the song at all. Like, I mean, Norfolk needs some tuba breaks, like some long tuba breaks. Like, look, if we're gonna take something from Southern, let's take something from Southern that actually do something. Because our tubas are better than Southern's. But better than Jackson too. But I said it.
Yeah,
Dog team was some mid until they took from Norfolk and A&T. I can tell you the exact video that proves my point. Video that proves my point.
I'm all day, but one thing I am is I'm not biased. I ain't choosing sides. I'm just gonna say okay. You got
but yeah, I think what happened this weekend was and like the way that we're talking about it and the way that we're all talking about it, because we live in a world where we're separated by so many things, and you're separated by your fandoms and all of that kind of stuff, who you represent for or whatever like that. But this is something that got everybody energized. Like, we are all talking about this. This is something that meant something to all of us. And this whole thing deflected from that lady at USC that started the dance team, which is freaking weird.
Yeah. So
and she
about
was
that.
wrong or anything. I don't have a dog in that fight. It was just kind of weird that you decided to start that kind of dance team at USC.
Well,
without the band backing.
Well, the first thing I'm going to say is, in comparison, just go because I want to go back and kind of touch a couple of things that you said. So I can agree with you on the fact that the comparisons of the two program or the two events, the Texas Southern and Hampton and Norfolk, in comparison, there was definitely one that was a little bit more entertaining than the other. I can say that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't disagree with you on that level. But I also do agree, and like I said with Justin earlier, I do agree with the fact that on both sides, I think there is something that within that thing that happened at Texas Southern with the Texas Southern thing, it was a sense of energy that did bring more to I guess to the band world, I guess to the band culture, so on and so forth. So I can agree on that, and I also say that same energy I would also say is the same energy that got people energized for the Hampton and Norfolk thing.
Yeah, and also they covered most of the stands. Like, it was packed, but that's only because they covered the top part of most.
Yeah,
of the
I heard
stands.
about that.
I had never seen those before.
Yeah,
I'd never seen those covers before. But and then of course this neck of the woods, like really like Norfolk and A&T only really get up for each other. And it seems in most cases, as soon as that game and that battle is done, their season is usually done. As far as the band goes, it's the band is just kind of going through the motions after they face each other. And that's kind of how it's been for the last few times that they've played. And hopefully they can get something back going when they're able to face each other again. But I wish for something better for my Spartans. Like I want something better for them. I want a bigger platform for them. I want them to be talked about on the same level as some of these SWAC bands that we talk about all the time. And I know that eventually they're going to see Alabama State. They're going to see Kentucky State in November. So they're going to see some of these other bands that people are talking about. So, and hopefully they can put on a show, because A&T is supposed to be there too. So hopefully they still got that in them to put on a show that weekend. But I just want something better for, and then like the worst part about it is, like, it's not like we're going to no Celebration Bowl or anything like that. I mean, the football team is still not great. So like we're not going to get there. They don't put us in the preseason, the first game. Then they talk about the ratings, but like, hey, you want good ratings? Put Southern and Norfolk in that game. You want ratings? That's how you get ratings.
Well, that's and
Howard, though, they put Howard in the game.
So I will say this: during my time of marching, we always wanted to see Southern. We really, really were pushing to try to figure out a way to get Southern, but that's just the athletics decision. They specifically, at least this is how I perceived it when I was an undergrad. They don't really see, I guess, the value of going against Southern. That was just my perception as an undergrad. I guess they feel they found more value of going and getting their tails whipped by Rutgers or something. But that's just how they carried it. So I mean, I don't know. I don't have any say so in that. I have no clue as how that works, but I do agree. I've always wanted to see Norfolk go against some of the heavy hitters. My only gripe with that would be the fact that if and when that does happen, it just didn't happen during my era of Norfolk. Because I had an issue with the fact that, I marched 5 years, and then there were a couple of years after that, and then all of a sudden when Dr. Sanford left and the band got smaller, then all of a sudden Bethune decided that they wanted to show up.
Right.
So I always took issue with that. But I mean, like I said, on the tail end,
Bethune show up and smashed in, like, was it 99?
That was 99 though.
I know, but I'm just saying.
You know that, and that's nothing against Norfolk or Bethune, but that was 99.
Right.
I will always say that really to me, when it comes to the grand masses, the golden era of the Legion was between 2000 and around 2009 ish. So in the times when you wanted to see those programs should have been during that era, but it just didn't happen. It didn't pan out that way. So, but yeah, I like I said, I don't have a dog in that fight. I would love to see it. But I will go back to say that there is definitely a different energy because, like you said, everybody's talking about the Texas Southern thing. And that is the talk of the town. I hope that at some point, we just get back to the band thing, and then all of a sudden there probably will be something else that comes back and sparks something else. So
yeah, and
we'll
we want to see Norfolk and Southern, but we know that that's not going to be a good matchup.
Not now, no.
No, it's not going to be a good matchup. I mean, we all know that the real that will be a real good matchup is Norfolk and Tennessee State.
Well,
that's the one.
Norfolk and Tennessee State would have always been a good matchup.
Yeah, that's a really good matchup to me anyway. But like this weekend was fantastic for a fan. Like, and I'm not a fan of either. I'm not a fan of either school. But what they did and what they do and continue to do online is super interesting to me, and I'm definitely glued into all of it now.
Okay. All right, brother. Well, you ain't get too ignorant, so that's good.
No ignorant from me. Not today.
Well, I'm glad. That maybe
the bands did it for me.
All right, man. I appreciate
Norfolk and Alabama State. Someone put that they're going to see each other in November.
Okay. Well, hopefully I'll be able to watch that one.
Yep.
Some type of way.
All right.
But all right, brother.
Thanks,
You
y'all.
keep it easy, man. Have a great day, bro.
Y'all too.
All right. Smiths. There we go. Quan said he had a tip. He's like, I can get out this building.
Yeah.
Are you in a car? Or are you walking?
No, I'm walking. Shit, I'm in a car. It's Houston.
No, I was saying like walking to the car, man.
Oh no, I'm in the car already.
Okay. All right. Well, we got to get ready to shut this down anyway. Maya went ahead and tipped out. Me and Maya gonna have a talk. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Maya went ahead and tipped out. So let's go ahead and do it the right way, man. Any final thoughts? Anything you got for the culture, bro?
I think, like I say, I truly am appreciative that both of the programs are going in a better direction. I think bands are back. Those 2 years that we did not have it impacted us. But I think bands are on the up and up. Continue doing a great work. Continue to educate our students, y'all. I think we're all for entertaining, but we also must educate as well. So just keep up the good work, man. And I look forward to next week's battles.
Absolutely. So a couple things before we get out of here, man. First of all, man, I appreciate everybody who was watching and hung in with us for these last couple hours. It's a really interesting thing that's happening in the culture. And like I said at the beginning, I am equal opportunity. I try to listen to everybody's side, and I did gain a different perspective on some things just watching today, but I definitely want to make sure that the musicianship at the end of the day still is prevalent. That's what we always want to strive for, is great musicianship at the end of the day. Make sure that you stop by the store, www.realtalkthattalk.com. You can pick up your merchandise 30% off when you type in HBCU bands. Go ahead and check out the Patreon as well. That is up and live for you guys, for you all who want to join the Patreon. Also, please make sure that you look out for any time that we will be around. I'm telling you, I'm trying to be at this daggone Cotton Bowl, but Quan said he being phony. He ain't trying to come because he worried about a football game. So he might not make it. And I got some tickets for him too. That's a waste of my money.
Nah, give them to my son.
What's that got to do with the daggone show?
Don't waste the team. Don't waste the tickets, brother.
Phony. Anyway, man, I appreciate you guys. Also, man, I forgot to mention the US bands battle of the bands that is coming up. You still, if you have a band program out there, you are still able to register. Before we head out and before I shut everything down, I'm going to make sure that I play the commercial before we all leave out. Other than that, man, this has been a great episode. We will see you guys on next week.